currently we're on PS walk number 48, which means that we have been walking for 48 weeks. And we're going to try and walk for a whole year, like, week 52. Yeah, and we wanted to invite the participants at Congress to join in our walks for the PS 48. So yeah, maybe a little, yeah, I don't even know. Melanie, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think so. This current, what you see right now is our the score that we have for this week, and we call it turntabling because what we're inviting you to do is to add something to it. So if we could have the next slide, please. So we just did our PS Walks overview, and Melanie, the other Melanie, started this, and she probably could say a lot more about her motives, but let's have that next slide. So one of the things that we were thinking about was how each one of these postcards needed to reflect back to the previous one. So we're always linking. We're always linking to what someone did the previous week. Next slide. So Melanie, I just got a text from Melanie. So we're just going to keep going with me and Noriko. We're going to figure it out here on the fly. Noriko, do you want to talk about this? Or you want me to?
Yeah, you carry on talking. You're doing a great job.
So we really me and Melanie both really are into this idea of renga, and so that renga is a type of poetry style, Japanese poetry style, where you're responding to the previous line, often in haiku. So what would happen is that PS1 would happen, and someone would reply to it in PS2, and then going on and on and on like that. So next slide, please. So these are some of the examples that we did. So there's actually 4 of us. So I'm Melanie Mowinski. I'm in the United States. Catherine Miller is in Canada. She's pretty much like 5 hours north of me. Noriko is in Japan, and Melanie's in the UK. And so these are some of the different things. We were making collages and making these various scores. So these are the walking kinds of things that we would get in our feed each week, and we had to reply to them. Next slide, please. So for this one, for PS48, we started with number 1, and I think that was, it first Melanie, the other Melanie started, and then it went to Noriko, and then it went to Catherine, and then it went to me. So the last one, and then I think it went back to Melanie. So next slide. So now it's time for all of you to participate in this. So we're inviting you to contribute to our collaborative score. I think if you could go to the next slide, hopefully this will be what I think it is. Yes, excellently. So what we would like for you to do is to scan this QR code, and it's going to open up if you have the app Padlet, it's going to open up that app. If you don't have that app, it's going to lead you to the Padlet website, and they both look the same. And what we would like for you to do is to respond to what you see. I think the instructions are pretty clear. And what we're going to ask you to do is just really, just like that renga style, is reply to the image that you see and give us a sense of what the link is. You'll see there's examples of that already if you scan this QR code. We're going to ask you to add that contribution by tonight, by 1919 tonight, and then overnight the elves, the collage and Walkscore making elves, will compile all of that into a new score that we're going to invite you to walk over this weekend. Next slide, please. Might be the end, I'm not sure. And then you'll scan tomorrow, you'll scan the QR code again, and it's going to be different. And then we're going to ask you to go for that walk and then add your walk experiences to the Padlet. So just to be clear, what we're asking you to do today is to respond. You're not going for a walk today. You're just responding to what you see in Padlet. And then tomorrow the walk score will be live, and we'll ask you to walk that over tomorrow and on or Sunday. Next slide. These are this is where we are. Where we are on Instagram, where you can find us. The PS Walks Weebly has images of all of our walking scores that we've created over the past 48 weeks. And then that QR code again is the one that's going to lead you to Padlet with the prompt with where we ask you to add something today to help us make that collaborative score. And then tomorrow we'll have the overall score. I think that should be it. Next slide, maybe. No, great. Okay.
That's it. Thank you so much for picking that up. That's great. And just to reassure everyone, when you want to go back to that QR code tomorrow, it's in the program. So all of the Walkscore codes are in the program, and we'll have them at the venues as well, so that you can join in. Thank you so much. That's excellent. And thank you for being elves overnight. We really appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Christina Rothstein. I hope you'll sign up for my guided walk tomorrow. It's at 12:30, starting at St. Paul's Church. I will direct the group between a series of locations while we listen to the audio guide to Harley Fungalford Castle, a fictional heritage site. The audio describes a specific imagined place, but the walk is designed to be destabilizing, thought-provoking, and evocative no matter where it is performed or what type of landscape you're traveling through. So if you can't make it to the guided walk tomorrow, I hope you will have a chance to try it out this weekend or at another time in future. If you do come to the walk, you will receive a small handmade book which contains an experiment to commemorate the walk through a collaborative process. The audio element will be about 25 minutes with about 15 minutes of easy walking between locations preceded by a short introduction by me. The walk consists of 9 historic points of interest within the imaginary ruin and is intended to be weird and fun, asking questions about how we interpret and interact with heritage sites. I live most of the year in Vancouver, Canada, but for a few months of the year I live here, mostly around the English-Welsh border. And I have been traveling to historic and heritage sites in the UK since I first visited when I was about 12 and became obsessed with stone remnants in the landscape. Constantly going on trips to track down obscure standing stones and castles. When I was a teen traveling around with my dad in South Wales, he perhaps ill-advisedly had left the itinerary to me. And after a day in which we had visited about 4 castles, he finally got angry and said, "No more castles." Since then, I can't count how many pilgrimages I've made to ruined castles, abbeys, cairns, stone circles, earthworks. In fact, while working on the project, I looked through some photo albums from the times when I was about 12 to 15, and pretty much all of the photographs are of ruined castles, and 2 of them with my dad with the castle or standing stone. So while creating a series of walking art pieces last year, I was thinking about a work for audio and thinking about the audio guides, which are often available in official historic sites now. And while I applaud the effort, I often find the content to be pretty flat rather than inspiring, sometimes overly earnest. And so I was wondering what I could do with something in the form of a parody. I took some ideas from works by Janet Cardiff and Andrea Fraser, who did similar things with walks in galleries and museums. I wanted to expand that idea into sites that were embedded in a long experience in the landscape. The text for the walk score was mostly improvised while walking and slightly refined afterwards. Because there were so many possible directions it could have gone in, I chose to be mostly spontaneous. It was then recorded at 5 different locations around the country, including ruined castles in England and Wales and a Neolithic burial chamber. If you try the walk score over the weekend, you can begin anywhere, walking throughout the audio or stopping to listen to the tracks before moving to a different location for the next one. The suggestion is that you begin at a historic site of some kind, but the connection between the walk score and what you're looking at can be loose or non-existent, so you can start anywhere. You can also do the walk, of course, in a slower fashion, in a more leisurely drift fashion if you prefer. Yeah, the links and QR codes are in the program. It also includes a map with 2 suggested routes starting at St. Paul's if you want to work from something that's has a few ideas already, but you can do it anywhere. And there is a handout which is available in the lobby. And that is it.
Thank you. And very conveniently, we have bits of ruined abbey on this campus, so you know you can go and do it now.
Hello, wherever you may be. I don't know how many of you, either in the room or in the ether, have used AI at all, but a few of us got together in Huddersfield last year to engage with AI and ChatGPT in particular to explore Huddersfield. And we discovered it was quite fun. It could be quite useful, but it also can be quite bizarre. I describe it, think of it as a courteous stranger from whom you ask directions. That stranger may well know exactly what you're looking for, or they may have no idea at all. But rather than admit ignorance, they obligingly deliver a comprehensive, plausible answer that may lead you astray. Much like the courteous stranger, ChatGPT always prefers a convincing, apparently comprehensive answers to an admission of ignorance, and you can end up with AI hallucination. I'll give, you can read, if you go through the QR code, you can read some of these, but some sample questions would likely to produce useful, largely accurate answers. Plan a short walk in Canterbury, or wherever you may be, passing 5 pubs. But then you can say, tell me the shortest walk in Canterbury, passing 5 pubs, and then compare the results. And it doesn't always come up with the same, you can ask the same question more than once, and it won't always come up with the same answer. But you can, for example, find that the one just saying 5 pubs is in fact a shorter walk than the one when you've asked for the shortest route. But it will always very helpfully tell you the distance, whether you've asked the distance or not, it will tell you. But the distance it tells you may or may not actually be accurate if you check by other means, such as by walking it. Take me on a walk through Canterbury, passing locations written about by Charles Dickens. That's one that will raise your doubts a bit, you know, but Dickens associated with Canterbury, recommend it. Plan a walk along the 5 widest streets in Canterbury, or along the 5 narrowest streets in Canterbury. And experiment with reframing your question. Ask for a short route, or the quickest, shortest, a clockwise route, or an anti-clockwise route. And then sample questions which will bluff, and they may raise your alarm. Plan a walk passing the 5 most recent crime scenes in Canterbury. Tell me the shortest walk along 5 streets named after famous people, and play with adding other parameters. Say, ask for a walk for a dog or a child, or if you're walking on crutches or on horseback or carrying a 5-meter pole. Ask for a sinister walk. Ask it to take you past an oak tree. And when not one for walking, but just to see what it can do. Canterbury has 2 railway stations, Canterbury East, Canterbury West, helpfully identified because they're almost exactly due north and south of each other, rather than east or west. Ask it to take you from Canterbury West to Canterbury East by train, and it will come out with a quite lengthy answer. If you go to Southeastern trains and ask for a ticket from Canterbury West to Canterbury East, it won't actually offer you one, because you walk to get from one to the other. But ChatGPT will tell you the way. And what you end up with, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Guy Debord's Psychogeographic Guide of Paris, but it's like a patchwork of little bits. And quite often what you actually get from ChatGPT is a load of fragments. You ask it for a route or a walk, but you'll find it takes you to the junction of 2 parallel roads. You know, they're impossible. And it can be quite fun doing this. So a quick show of hands, how many people know Canterbury here? And how many don't? Well, like any of these things, it's fun if you do it in, you know, with at least a partner or a little group or whatever. But what I really recommend is that the person who leads is someone who doesn't know Canterbury, because very often if you know the area, you can spot these hallucinations straight off. But what's quite fun, Aled and I had great fun in Huddersfield last year because I live there. That's not the only reason it's fun. But we get the instructions, and some of them I'd know immediately it wouldn't work, but let Aled lead and wait until he stubbed his toe, and he'd say, hang on, this isn't working, and okay, so what do we do then? And that's the fun bit. What do you do then? So, as I say, you can do it in Vancouver, you can do it in Japan, you can do it wherever you like. But have a go, and if you're still here at the end of Sunday morning, we'll be, you know, looking to hear your ChatGPT tales of what ChatGPT has told you about the heritage of Canterbury. Thank you.
Just to explain, the winter theory group started one winter after a former group COP. We called it a theory group because Aled, who was one of the founder members, hadn't got his PhD at that stage. I must confess I'm a little bit disconcerted here, because whenever I've been in a room like this before, I've been invited to take an oath to tell the truth. However, do you want to read it? An oath. Thank you. Sorry, I'm David Upton. Just I want to talk very briefly about some geolocated sounds in Canterbury. This isn't really a walk, it's just something that's there. It's there now, it'll be there till I take it down, probably on Monday. In order to play with this, get out your phone, go to the, what do they call it, the store, you know, of apps. It works on either Android or iPhone. Look for echoes.xyz and download it and set it up. That's all you need to do. When you open it, you'll see there's a reference to a walk in a Canterbury pilgrimage. We'll take it from there. You have to be in the area just south of the cathedral, called the Cathedral Quarter, for it to find you, because that's where everything's geolocated. The theory behind all of this, because we like theory, what is a pilgrimage? You know, there's religious answers to what is a pilgrimage. You go to be near something holy, the holiness rubs off on you, whatever. But for some of us, that probably doesn't work as an explanation. And thinking about it, we came to the conclusion that actually what possibly happens is it's more the process of getting there that changes your mind, changes your outlook. How does it change your outlook? Well, looking at semiotics, a subject about which I know almost nothing, I keep reading that there's a link between the signs and what they signify. The sign is not what it signifies. We all make the link in different ways, and that's the important thing. You know, two of us can see the same signs and interpret them in entirely different ways. And maybe what happens is that you learn or are encouraged to interpret the signs in different ways on your pilgrimage. So as you wander around your pilgrimage of the Cathedral Quarter, you will find embedded sounds coming up on your phone, assuming you've turned it on and switched on the walk and all that sort of thing, of people who have grappled with this problem, from Chaucer and his translation of Boethius all the way up to Baudrillard via Guy Debord, well, not Marx, but Debord, who is a Marxist, Freud, and various other philosophers who've looked at the way you interpret signs, the way you interpret what you see around you. So all we ask you to do, I mean, this is, you know, this isn't a walk. You don't have to get anywhere. There's no time. There's no, you don't have to do it all at once. Just when you're standing somewhere, listen to the sound of somebody reading Chaucer's version of Boethius or Guy Debord or something like that. And just ask yourself, well, how does this affect how I interpret the signs that I'm seeing now? So look and listen and think. That's all really. You don't have to complete it. You don't get brownie points for getting to the end alive or anything like that. Indeed, there isn't an end. It's just, you know, you just follow it around. So remember, echoes.xyz, install it, click on the walk called the Canterbury Pilgrimage, and off you go. Thank you.